arrogant actors.
I'm not going to say who.
It was shit, but I'm the greatest actor in the world and I can make even shit sound good.
Kevin Spacey, Helen Hunt.
Harassed directors.
We find out that he's afraid of animals.
I'm doing it.
Have this movie where he's in scenes with animals.
Making movies as a drama all of its own.
Oliver Reed died 2 hours ago. Create a new ending.
I said no, because the first 15 pages of it were so violent and so disturbing.
The Hollywood Machine.
The bigger it is, the harder it falls.
Real life. Next Wednesday on 1.
Join me shortly on The Last Word when we find out why taxpayer dollars are being spent to stop us joking about saving power. And our special guest is actor Victoria Alcock. I'm no expert, but she's one bad girl. Bloody hell, we thought you floated to the top!
Yeah, it's a shame you didn't wash Fenner off, you said, no? All part of the plan. Thought I'd come back an old body bag.
The Last Word after Late Edition and weather.
Good evening. Welcome to Late Edition. A damning report on corruption claims has cost the head of a Māori broadcasting funding agency his job. The chairman has quit after a Treasury report into a string of embarrassing revelations about Te Māngai Pāho. Here's political reporter Garth Bray.
Arriving at Parliament, Te Māngai Pāho chairman Toby Curtis was ready to resign. Chief Executive Trevor Moeki may be close behind him as the government considers a report on corruption allegations at the agency.
The review found no evidence of systemic failure, but there was the issue around tamaterangi and those bits that happened in relation to his activities and what he did.
Former radio manager Tamaterangi quit in March. This report finds he was paid $11,000 expenses for radio sports commentaries in Māori. Another $3,000 was cash from the very company he was suggesting should get extra funding to broadcast rugby games.
We can have the best systems available, but if you get a crook in the organisation, they're always going to rot the system.
Rodney Hyde, who uncovered the payments, says the blame goes much higher. The report finds Trevor Moeki showed poor judgment in handling the issue and that his repeated warnings failed to stop Mr Terangi's commentary work.
They should all go. I believe the Chief Executive, Trevor Moeki, has to be fired. Parakura Horomia has to be fired. He stood on this information. He's misled Parliament. He's misled the public.
Helen Clark says it's not up to her minister to fix this problem.
We now need to get an interim chair in pretty quickly and come to an assessment as to whether the organisation can carry on.
Any decision on Mr Moeki and Te Māngai Pāho's future now rests with its board and new interim chairman, Wira Gardner. Garth Bray, One News.
Nearly 3 months after workers walked off the job at the Kinleith paper mill, a deal has been done to end the dispute. Carter Holt Harvey had threatened to close the mill for good, a move that would have spelled disaster for the South Waikato town of Tukaroa. Brian Seymour reports.
Dying flames on an empty picket line, marking the end of the 83-day strike at the Kinleith pulp and paper mill.
We're very pleased that the strike's over. This has been a long 3 months, so I'll be delighted when the mill's back in production.
270 striking workers will return to the mill next Tuesday under a new 2-year collective agreement.
People have now got a basis to look forward to the future, look ahead and start making their plans, most importantly getting the mill up and running and getting relationships rebuilt.
That relationship hit an all-time low last month when Carter Holt Harvey said it may mothball the mill and only a miracle would save it. The company estimates the strike has cost it up to $40 million, though it's kept over $4 million in unpaid wages.
Along the way, we've had to re-examine ourselves as we went through the strike to see that the issues that we were fighting for were real.
South Waikato Council says the mill accounts for nearly 30% of the region's economy. It's not sure how much the strike has cost, but says it is definitely in the millions.
It's not just the loss of immediate income, they're wondering where their next paycheck's coming from and who's got money to spend. So they can now plan ahead. They haven't been able to do that for the last 2 to 3 months.
The new deal resolves 2 main sticking points, allowing the mill's fire brigade to remain and introducing new processes to fill senior vacancies. Brian Seymour, One News.
The National Party says it won't be put off social welfare reform by accusations of beneficiary bashing. The party has unveiled ideas that include bringing back the controversial Work for the Dole scheme introduced by National in 1998. It also wants tougher work test requirements, more testing for sickness beneficiaries and time limits on benefits for those able to work.
The key risk of that is that as the time limit comes to an end, the parent is forced into an employment option that really isn't satisfactory for the children.
A recent One News Colma Brunton poll indicated that 90% of New Zealanders favour a Work for the Dole scheme. The police are expecting to issue 30% more traffic tickets this year, but they deny they're revenue collecting. The police commissioner has been questioned at Parliament over moves to lower the threshold for speeding tickets to 10 kilometres over the limit. But he says the predicted 30% increase in tickets is not a quota.
It is not a number that I sit down with anyone and discuss and negotiate. It is a prediction from within police of what the likely productivity of our activities there are.
Nearly 200,000 people have overdue fines. 26 owe more than $30,000. A New Zealand man is being held in China accused of being a terrorist. Sun Gang, who lived here for 7 years, was picked up in Beijing. And his brother in Christchurch says he's worried for his safety. I apologise for that. Now, Sun Gang was also arrested along with a Chinese citizen and a Chinese American. All are alleged supporters of an American-based pro-democracy movement known as the China Federation Foundation. The pirates jailed for killing Sir Peter Blake in Brazil have had their sentences reduced. Sir Peter was shot in December 2001 while trying to defend his boat and crew near the town of Macapa. 6 men were given prison terms last year, ranging from 26 to 36 years. But today an appeals court took an average 4 years off their jail time. The judge says it's to give them some hope that one day they can rejoin society and lead fruitful lives. 6 Indonesian crew members of a Korean freighter head home tomorrow after complaints of gross mistreatment by the ship's officers. The men have been taken off the Wisteria, which arrived in Nelson this afternoon. The vessel travels between New Zealand and America, and the sailors say they have spent months without proper food and clean water.
The captain dogs and the chief cook, they give the captain dogs mineral water, while the other crew drink Panama Canal water.
The ship's New Zealand agent says the matter has now been resolved and the captain involved has been sacked. A helicopter crash on Mount Everest in Nepal has marred the 50th anniversary of Sir Edmund Hillary's ascent. At least 3 people were killed and 6 injured when a Russian-built helicopter crashed on its way to the mountain base camp. More than 1,000 people are at the camp. They're members of more than 20 expeditions trying to climb Everest for tomorrow's anniversary of the first ascent. The dead are said to be Nepalese, but it's not yet known what caused the crash. Meantime, there's a call for more recognition for the man who helped Sir Edmund Hillary to the top of Mount Everest. Tenzing Norgay's son and grandson are in Kathmandu to celebrate the historic climb and remember the Sherpa who conquered the world's highest mountain.
When a man who couldn't read or write puts the national flag of Nepal to the highest point and being one of the first, that deserves a big credit. You know, from the heart of the people of Nepal.
Tenzing Norgay was 39 when he reached the summit. He died in 1986. Now here's your Thursday weather. Where can we expect most of the rain tomorrow, Karen?
Well, unfortunately, not over the hydro lakes, Neil. It looks like Fiordland will be the wettest place. Hi there, everyone. We've got another front tracking up the South Island tomorrow, bringing rain to western areas and those heavy falls to the fjords. Just some brief morning rain in the east, spreading as far north as Canterbury before fizzling out. We've got a brisk westerly rising to 60 k in the south in the evening, with gusts up to around 90 k. Well, a fine start to the day for much of the North Island. Just got some cloud here in the west, keen west to northwest wind over the lower half of the island. Got a sou'wester in the north. Cloud increases in the west in the afternoon with a few showers developing later in the day. So brief showers for these southern towns as that front moves through. Strong westerly for Invercargill around 55 k. Grey skies and rain for coasters, but it's mostly fine out east. Maybe just a few spits of rain around midday for Christchurch. Mostly fine day for this group. That's after a cold night. The nor'wester strengthens in Wellington. Starts out dry through here, then a few showers develop in the afternoon. The westerly will be fresh in Palmerston North and Wanganui. Early showers, then a fine day for Gisborne. Showers develop in New Plymouth as the sou'wester there picks up. Got some morning fog for Hamilton, then mostly fine until some showers pop up later in the day. Tokoroa down to 0 tonight. Cloudy periods and a fresh sou'wester for Auckland. Maybe a few showers out west later in the day. We've got isolated showers for Kaitaia. Well, that's all from me. I'll pass you back to Neil.
Thanks, Karen, and that's Late Edition for Wednesday. The One News team is back from 6:30 in the morning. I'm Neil Walker. Good night.
On the programme tomorrow, we look at a teetering towers reconstruction plan, and an international economist gives his views on the difference between the business of aquaculture and traditional fisheries. Join me 6:30 tomorrow morning for Telstra Clear Business, your business advantage.
Good evening. Tonight, saving power is a serious matter, truly. And if you make any jokes about it, this man is being paid by the government to record your every word. And from a bad girl in an English slammer to a mum on a New Zealand stage, Victoria Alcock joins us.
Bloody hell, June, turn that rubbish down, will ya?
Yeah, it's getting on my tits and all.
Christ.
So, two psychologists walk into a bar. One says to the other, we could get government money to analyse the negative effect of humour on the power savings behaviour of citizens. Well, the other psychologist says, excellent joke. But no. Two Waikato University psychologists will get nearly $400,000, count them, to study the impact of our conversation, especially our humorous conversation, about electricity. Now, one of the pair is Associate Professor Bernard Guerin. He joins us from Hamilton for a very serious chat. Professor Guerin, good evening.
Good evening, Pam.
Now, you know, shout out loud. Put that in the whoopee bank account was my initial reaction. Can you tell me about the project?
About the budget or the project? What are you more interested in?
Well, I'm pretty interested as a taxpayer in the budget, but if we could just talk about the project for a moment.
OK, well, a lot of things have been tried for conserving energy usage in homes and communities. Typical things people do are to try and encourage people, get them to like the idea of conserving energy. Typical things are to give them a whole lot of information about, you know, what they'll say, what will really happen if they do. Not a great deal of success. I think, as you can see from the 10% hasn't been reached, and it's dropping back a little bit now, but that's 10% out of the whole country. Not a great deal's been achieved. So what we're trying to do is just get one more piece of that picture, and see what we can do about that part of it.
But there would be a myriad of reasons for why that savings target isn't being achieved. Like, many people are politically opposed to bailing out the government, for example. Do you really think you'll find out more than ad agencies haven't studied when they try and put the ads together, and you cast aspersions on Mark Ellis, you know?
Well, we're trying to get it more than what the ad agencies tend to do. We're trying to get the very things people are opposing. You said politically opposed to it. Well, what we want to do is find out, well, how do they say that? We're talking about ordinary people. We want to get to the communities, the everyday people, to see what are they doing, what are the arguments they're having, what are the reasons they're putting forward if they do conserve as well as if they don't, and what are the things they're getting blocked against. What are people saying? Not just jokes, but what are the other things people are saying, and what are ways people are getting around that so they don't lose their friends, but they still manage to keep the arguments they do?
Well, I'll help you, you know, for no money, and you don't have to record me. I say to my friends, you've got to be flamin' joking. We've got market forces running the electricity supply service, and they want me to provide a socialist answer, and I haven't lost any friends, as far as I know, Bernard.
You probably have a small circle of friends, do you?
No, I'm pretty sure they are strong enough to say, well, that's Pam's opinion, and they carry on, you know, turning off their towel rails. Your argument seems to be that I could have the power to peer pressure them in to cranking up the heating system.
No, I want to find out what other people who will stand up to that and will say things and say, well, I do think it's important, because what you're buying into then is one small part of what's called a public dilemma, where if we all do what you do, nothing's going to change. If everybody, and it's in everybody's best interest not to, as you're saying, but if everybody does what's in everybody's best interests, nothing's going to change. And that includes the power companies as well. So what we're trying to find out is what do they say against things like that? Now, what one would suspect then is that friends you might have had who do oppose it, they've left your groups now. So how can people do something without having to leave your groups when something like that comes up as an argument?
I'm having to stop myself falling about laughing, because essentially what you're talking about is an assertiveness campaign.
No, it's finding the right ways to say things. It's not just being bossy and assertive about it and trying to shout louder than you do. It's about trying to find ways of putting the good reasons in, and the good reasons for New Zealand to do this, putting those into the conversations when you get people who are obstinate about it, won't take an answer, won't look at the other side, poo-poo and laugh at all the things that might be put forward. How can we do something to get through them without just creating an enemy who doesn't talk to us any longer? And once you've done that, of course, they're not even going to hear what the other arguments are that's going on, because they've left...
Is this sort of shades of, potentially, and it may be a long bow, but of Goebbels? I mean, if you get this information on how we influence others, couldn't you use it, and this will be used, this research for ad campaigns of the future, couldn't it be used for the vote for Helen Clark?
Well, what we get
ads.
What we get is we get a range of things. We don't just go searching out for the pro things and the anti-non-pro things. We go searching out the whole range of the ways people talk about it, the ways they do what you're doing and say and poo-poo the whole idea, the conspiracy theories, that it's a big conspiracy by big companies to do it. We search out how they talk about the facts and what are the facts, because you're saying, you're giving me certain facts and I'm not sure I believe those necessarily.
Well, I'm telling you from the heart, and I'm also worried that I no longer belong in a free society. Now, this has been paid for by the Research, Science and Technology Foundation branch of the government. 400 grand. When did this ricochet into action? When did the...
Well, we start mid next year.
Yeah, no, but when did you get the funding? I just need to know.
Oh, that was announced 2 weeks ago.
When, pardon?
2 weeks ago, I think.
2 weeks ago, and you applied?
Oh, way back in about September last year.
Well, I have to say 400 grand nearly over 5 years would make me smile. Thank you very much for coming into the Waikato studio, where everyone will know.
Can I just say more about the funding's actually quite small.
Look, we've sort of run out of time, and you had
it's actually very small funding for social science research, fully funded. It's actually quite small. I'd like you to check on your facts on that. I'm a taxpayer too, and it's actually quite small funding for projects. If you look at how much the advertisers pay, a lot more than that. Thanks very much.
That's all right, and it's still 75 grand over 5 years, count them, and I'll double check, and I know that to be true. But I will double check. After the break, that was Bernard Goering. He is Goering. Goeren. He is a Waikato psychologist. After the break, one of the stars of the hit series Bad Girls in New Zealand to be a mother. Welcome back. Our very special guest tonight is one of the Julies from the hugely successful Brit prison drama Bad Girls. And the series is only a tiny part of actor Victoria Alcock's CV, but it is a goodie part. Have a look.
Oh, you look happy, Babs.
You?
Come on.
Happy?
Move it.
Me and Ju's wishing we were stone deaf.
Soon will be. Bleeding classical music blasting out our eardrums.
I wouldn't mind if you could pick out a tune. Telling Vaughan how much we love your music tapes.
You better go careful in case she gets her hearing back.
I keep telling them I don't need my hearing back when I've got the vibrations.
Next.
Yvonne, you couldn't ask to have a move to your cell, could you?
Share the load, eh? What's funny?
Funny.
Well, she's been a right pain.
Well, we know she can't help herself.
And we love her to bits, but...
Sometimes she can be a right
pain in the arse.
Yeah, next.
Don't blame Babs. She kept it up for me.
What am I like?
Victoria Alcock. Call you Vicky.
Yes.
Welcome. And you can't look at yourself.
No, but thank you for the welcome.
That is amazing because you're not our first guest, I have to say. We've had other actors in and they're going, that's good, wasn't I good? And you're going, oh, God, I can't. Are you very tough on yourself?
Yeah, I kind of like, you know, I see myself on that quite a lot of the time. It's just kind of nice to look at somebody else.
You were physically, though, looking away. And you've done EastEnders, Lovejoy, House of Elliot, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you know, in theory, an actor should look at themselves when they're performing to learn their craft, I believe. But, no, if I had the choice, I'd rather watch somebody else than myself.
Bad Girls. Thank God you survived the fire.
Yes, you do know that, do you?
Well, I figured I did from watching. I had to rewind.
Yes.
Yeah, and...
the Julies are alive.
Yeah.
And still kicking.
But given that you it seems to be in a position of picking and choosing your roles now, did you worry when the storyline got to who survives?
Oh, no, because we knew beforehand. We knew there was going to be a big explosion, you know, the big fire and everything. But a couple of people you do lose along the way, but it was their choice. They wanted to move on to other stuff. But generally, we are kind of asked or told, in fact, a couple of months before, whether, you know, you're going to get the big Spanish archer elbow or you're going to be able to stay.
Spanish archer?
Elbow.
Oh, what does it rhyme with, Spanish archer?
No, elbow.
Oh, no.
Sharing with New Zealand.
Thank you, learning all the time, and I was a wee bit slow.
It's London humour, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It just makes me far more cosmopolitan and international.
Yes, exactly, Pam.
When you are in that position earlier in your career and your character gets like a terminal disease...
Oh, yeah, you think you're going to instantly be dismissed, sacked, and called into the producer's office and... But I think the Julies will be there until the end.
And so they should be.
Absolutely. You know, they're part of an institution now for Bad Girls, so I think when Bad Girls dies, then the Julies will go with it.
Talking to one of my colleagues here from the newsroom, and she said, it's interesting with Bad Girls, it's very subtle that the women are evil, whereas in male... violent or prison dramas, it's biff, smash, biff, smash.
Oh, I agree totally, because I think that what's so interesting about Bad Girls, somebody asked me this before, is it's that kind of, you take the female core and you watch them work on so many different levels. Sorry to the gentlemen in the audience watching, but to see women work is actually quite frightening.
Oh, and it's far more head games.
Yeah, exactly, and what prison officers have said is it's actually worse to be a warder in a in a female prison rather than in a male prison, because you never know what they're going to do next.
However,
I like that.
The upside is we're a lot smarter.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying, isn't it?
Can we say that out loud? Yes, we are.
Yeah, oh, did we say that out loud?
I think we did, Pam.
Now, you're here for Mum's the Word.
Yeah, I've been here a week now. I've got over my jet lag. And
Have
I'm
you
working...
been to Kiwi before?
No, I've never been down under, and I feel very welcome in New Zealand.
I have to say, in a loving way, and I'm not being cringing about New Zealand, because I love New Zealand too, but why New Zealand and let alone Hamilton? You're playing in Hamilton, for God's sake.
Yeah.
There's prison.
Okay, well, I know nothing about the Hamilton that you're mentioning, but we're doing the whole gig right the way down to Invercargill. We're passing by Christchurch, Dunedin, as you said, and back up to Napier, Hamilton, and then, you know,
Dunedin's fine, my hometown, lovely.
Okay, but I am doing the whole tour in 6 weeks. I'm working with a great bunch of girls. Hi, girls, I've got to say hello to them. How you doing? And especially hi to Stan and Ernie and Holly.
Oh,
sorry.
Is this a request session?
It is
you
a
did
little
it
bit.
very nicely.
Thank you.
Now, are you a mother?
I'm a stepmom.
Yeah. Well, I'm a mother, and I'm kind of scared to go to the show in case it's going to show up my inadequacies, and I'm going to sit there guilt-ridden and go, oh, God, I do that too.
No, well, that is part of it, most definitely, that you will recognise yourself.
Oh.
But in a great way, and in a slight bad way as well, but you will laugh, you will cry, you will... in fact, you will laugh more than anything in the whole world. But it is a fab show, and I'm not just saying it because I'm in it, but we've got some great people in it, and I love it already, and we're having too much fun for words in rehearsals.
That's all right.
Yeah, fun is good, but I think it's going to be a good one.
Apparently a lot of physical humour too.
In what way?
I don't know. I read one review and they said there was sort of physical humour.
We're walking and talking.
Oh, well, that'll do.
That's physical for me.
And honestly, you've met some of the crew. That's funny when they walk.
Exactly.
And I think you opined on that, but I don't think that's for, like, family viewing audience. As I said before, and quite genuinely, welcome to New Zealand. Have a great time and good luck with the show.
Thank you very much.
My
Cheers.
mate Vicky. Victoria Alcock to anyone else, but it's Vicky to me.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, Famous Voices for Kiddie Cartoons goes on. This time, Ellen DeGeneres and what's in tomorrow's papers. Shortly, a good result for the All Whites. I know, there's a headline. But first, these stories you'll find leading tomorrow's daily newspapers. The Dominion Post leads with the future of Māori broadcasting agency Te Māngai Pāho hanging in the balance. Police plan to issue 33% more speeding fines next year, and another man has died of a heart attack after his surgery was postponed. The press leads with 1 in 3 Cantabrians being dumped from hospital waiting lists. Elderly euthanasia advocate Ralph Vincent from Nelson will not be charged over the death of his wife last year. And Canterbury youngsters have some of the most decayed teeth in the country. The Otago Daily Times devotes its entire front page to Sir Edmund Hillary. Sir Ed says he's unimpressed with modern mountaineers who have all the comforts of home. A bronze statue will be unveiled at the Hermitage tomorrow. The Te Māngai Pāho funding scandal also leads the New Zealand Herald. A US study has found hormone therapy could double the risk of dementia for those aged over 65. And Sir Ed says Mount Everest should be left alone for a while. Just leave alone the world's highest mountain for a while. There's a call. Now, we loved the movies A Bug's Life and Monsters, Inc. around here, so anything new from the people who brought us those 2 movies has got to be worth a sneaky peek. Here's Finding Nemo, which hits New Zealand not until September.
Oh, I got something to tell you!
Fine. Don't make any sudden moves. Hop inside my mouth if you want to live.
Right. I'm playing a blue tang. It's actually a blue regal tang. Does anybody know that exactly? No one, and no one cares. No one's actually here. I just look around like there are people here. It's just you and me. Let me say it's a blue tang, because that's a safe way to say it, but it may be a blue regal tang. So if there are people out there correcting me right now. And I have a short attention span. Clearly, what?
Whoa, hold on, wait to cross.
How's it going, Bob?
Has anybody seen my son?
Your son Chico?
No, it's Nemo. We're looking for Nemo. Name's Crush.
I gotta find my son Nemo.
Grab shell, dude.
Grab what?
Let's ask for directions.
No!
What is it with men and asking for directions?
We're gonna help him escape. Nemo, don't give up!
Your dad's been fighting the entire ocean looking for you.
I'm coming, Nemo!
I never knew my father.
Come on, good hug. Oh, my stomach.
No hurling on the shell, dude, okay? Just waxed it.
Charge!
It's way cool.
I'm loving it. Tonight, the last word goes to this remarkable result from the All Whites, a 1-1 draw against Scotland in Edinburgh. Defender Ryan Nelson provided the magic moment.
Ryan Nelson. Well, Kevin Carr was unable to stop him, and just like that, Nelson has equalised for New Zealand at the start of the second half.
I know it's a draw, but I'm reliably informed around here that in soccer, in your round ball football game, an away draw, especially over Scotland, is seen as a win. And especially for the All Whites. You know, we're going for a long bow here. And as they would say, obviously, it's a braw brick moonlick neck to neck, which in short means none eyes.